Welcome back, second grade scientists. It's Mrs. Steele. We're going to be doing our third lesson called Being a Pollinator in our Plants Depend on Animals unit. And you're really going to see how plants are definitely going to need animals. So let's get started. First thing you're going to do is you can either pause this video or you can do it after the video, but you need to go on a pollinator scavenger hunt. That's right, you're going to take a walk outside and see if you can find any pollinators. Now, before we do that, you're going to make a prediction. So you're going to predict how many bats do you think? I don't know if you're going to see many bats. Probably should be a low number. How many butterflies can you go see? Now, I had somebody just bring me this butterfly. He's no longer alive, but it's pretty intact. It's missing its body now, so something happened. But how many butterflies do you think you see on your walk? Now, moths. How many moths? Now, moths are more at nighttime, so perhaps if you're taking your walk at night, you may see more moths. What about flies? Do you think you'll find any flies? Bees, wasps, hummingbirds, or anything else? So you're going to go ahead and take a prediction. You can guess you're going to see 2 butterflies, 0 moths, 4 flies, 8 bees, however you want to do it. Go ahead and make a prediction. And then when you go on your walk, make sure you bring something to record what you find. I'd love even a picture of it just to make you remember. And then we're going to fill that out. So that's one of your activities today. Now the next one, we're going to watch a video called Look Inside a Flower. So we're going to watch this first, and then we're going to come on back and do a hands-on activity.
Squeaks just gave me the nicest Valentine's Day surprise ever, a bouquet of flowers. Flowers are fun to look at, and they usually smell great, but they actually have a really important job. They use their pretty colors and smells to attract animals, which help make new plants. If you've seen our episode about fruit, you might remember that some animals like bees, butterflies, hummingbirds, and even bats move powdery stuff called pollen from one flower to another. These animals are called pollinators, and the pollen they carry helps flowers make the seeds that can grow into new plants. So that's a flower's job, to use its nice colors and smells to attract pollinators. Each part of the plant, from the long green stem to the beautiful petals, helps the flower do that job. And you can see how each part of the plant works if you look at it up close. Botanists, the scientists who study plants, will sometimes learn more about a plant by cutting it open and looking at the pieces. Squeaks, would it be okay if we took a closer look at one of these flowers? Great! You can try this at home too. All you need is a flower, a knife, and help from a grown-up, since you'll need to cut some things. The flower we're going to use is called a lily, but most other kinds of flowers will work too. The first thing you should do is separate all the main parts of the flower. Cut the flower off of the stem. Then take off the leaves. Now that all the big parts are separated, you can take a closer look at each of them. The stem is really strong and stiff. That's because it needs to support the rest of the plant. The stem also connects to the roots of the plant. The roots suck up water and nutrients from the ground, and the stem brings it to the leaves of the flower. This flower's roots were already trimmed off, which is why you can't see them. Another one of the stem's jobs is to bring food from the leaves to the flower. So let's look at the leaves next. Leaves grow out of the stem, and they're full of green stuff called chlorophyll. When the sun shines on the leaves, the chlorophyll turns sunlight into food for the plant. See those little lines running through the leaf? Those are veins, and they're a lot like the veins that move blood through your body. The veins in the leaf bring water and nutrients in from the stem, and they carry the food the chlorophyll made to the rest of the plant. So the stem and the leaves collect and carry water, food, and other nutrients that help the flowers grow and stay healthy. So now let's look at the flower. Flowers make a sugary liquid called nectar that pollinators love to eat. So to a pollinator, the flower's color and smell are like a big sign that says, "There's lots of food here, come eat." great. If you pull the petals off the flower, you can see that there are these sort of long, dangly things left inside. They're called the stamen, and they make the pollen. When a pollinator finds a flower, it comes to eat nectar, and while it's eating, pollen from the stamen gets stuck to the animal. Then, when it flies off to get nectar from another flower, it spreads the pollen to that other flower, and that's pollination. Now, there's just one part left. This sort of big stick thing called the pistil. That's the part of the flower that collects the pollen that pollinators bring from other flowers. It's kind of sticky on the end, so the pollen sticks to it. If pollen from another flower makes its way into the pistil can use the pollen to make seeds. And then those seeds can eventually become new plants. So the next time you're outside, take a look at all the flowers around you. There are thousands of different kinds, but they all do basically the same job. Thanks for joining us today, and thank you, Squeaks, for bringing me such a nice surprise. I got you a little something too. Oh, I'm glad.
Okay, so we knew a little bit of how pollination worked, but that was a great review. You are going to need your materials envelope, okay? So hopefully you have this sometime. You got it on distribution day, and there's a pair of pipe cleaners in there. So if you need to, pause the video, go find your materials envelope, and come on back. Inside your envelope, you should have 2 pipe cleaners. Now, they may not be black and yellow. In fact, I'm not certain I gave black and yellow to anybody. Perhaps if you got it, then you are one. It's unbelievable because that was pretty lucky. You should have some sort of dark color and a bright color, I believe I gave you. So we are going to be making a bee. A little similar, not quite that way, but we're going to walk it through. So you're going to have your 2 pipe cleaners and they are already cut for you. So the first thing that we need to do is we're going to twist the pipe cleaners together to get 1 pipe cleaner. So match them up at the top, pinch them, and then kind of use your fingers to twist it around. It makes a really pretty color. It's okay if one is longer than the other. My pink is a little bit longer. I'm going to have a nice colorful bee. Okay. And once again, if I'm going too fast for you, go ahead, pause the video, come on back. Okay, once you have it all twisted up, we're going to go on to the next part. And you're going to need to find some sort of pencil or a marker. I have a marker nearby. And you're just going to kind of twist it, wrap it around. I didn't make it as naughty as that. I'm just going to make it nice and clean. Twist it like that. If you need to pause me, where you go get a pencil or get a parent's help, go ahead, pause me. And then when you have your little twisty, it almost fits on like your finger, go ahead and we're going to go on to the next part. And I'm just going to describe this one to you because it doesn't look like a bee quite yet. We're going to make some antennas. So how I'm going to do that is I'm just going to take the end where the 2 were twisted and I'm just going to poke them up. They're 2 different colored antennas. That's okay. And then I'm going to go to the back part and I'm going to pull one of the colors out. I actually have more pink, so I'm going to make him have a pink stinger, or she. And that is it. So I just used the 2 to make antennas at the top and a little stinger at the bottom. Once again, if you need to pause me to make your little bee, our little bees can all be very different. And in 3rd grade, you're going to learn about variations of different organisms, that even all bees, even though they're similar, they're all very different, just like humans. So it's okay if it's a little bit different. Okay, so now what I want you to do is you're going to go outside and find 2 flowers. Hopefully they are of the same species, meaning they look the same. And what I want you to do is pretend you are the bee pollinating. So you go and visit one flower, right? And hopefully you get some pollen on it. And if you can find a real flower, you can actually get real pollen on it. This is actually a fake flower. And then you go visit another one. So I'll show that again. So you're going to take your one bee. I had this flower right outside. It is a real flower, so I'm going to take my bee, and she's going to get some nectar. She's going to rub up on there. Take a look. Can you see that? Can you see the pollen grains? And then I'm going to get another one. I have a different one. Take it here, and I'm going to rub up on it too. And hopefully I get that part, that pistil, where the pollen grains then transfer. Now, you're actually pollinating a flower. It's called hand pollination when you're doing it by hand, but we're acting like the job of the bee. And look at all that pollen on him. And you can really go ahead and do it. So you can do this while you're on your walk too. Have your little bee on your finger and go ahead and pollinate some flowers. So you go from one flower to the next. You can also find the little tiny flowers. Now these are clover flowers. You probably find these in the field at school all the time and maybe collect them. But they also have pollen on them too, and you can go ahead, have it be go to one and then go to another. So go ahead and practice being a pollinator. Now it's your turn. I want you to explain what pollination is to a sibling or to a parent using your bees and flowers. And if you don't have a flower nearby to explain it, you can draw a picture of a flower and go from one to the next and little ones like that. So if you need to pause, go ahead and pause me to do that explanation. And then finally, in your seesaw activity, you are going to have besides the pollinator activity, your scavenger hunt, you're also going to have this one to draw a flow map on the pollination process of a bee. So you can say the bee first flies to first flower, show it gets pollen on its body, and then flies to the next. And you're going to go ahead and draw that out, type it out, and you can record what is happening. So go be pollinators outside, have a great time, go for a walk with your family, spot some pollinators, and really enjoy all that is pollination. Till next time.